Today I'm going to show you how to start making clothes for your clothing brand or small business with the Cricut vinyl cutter and a heat press. In this video, we're going to be using a Cricut Explorer Air 2, but this works for any of the Cricut vinyl cutters. I've been using my Cricut and my heat press for about 3 years now, so in this video, I'm going to tell you guys everything that you need to know to make sure you're successful. We're going to be going in depth, step by step, complete breakdown to make sure you guys know every single little thing that you need. I'm making this video for people who want to buy a Cricut, or maybe you have one and you just need a little bit more information to keep going. We're going to be going into Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to be going in detail all of the buttons and functions you need to know to make sure you can start designing. We're also going to be discussing heat transfer vinyl, where to get it, all that good stuff, as well as how to send the vinyl to the vinyl cutter, and then we're going to be heading over to the heat press so I can show you how to properly apply it. I'm going to be giving you guys tips and tricks throughout the whole video, so make sure you watch the whole thing and save this video so you don't lose it. When I started, I didn't have a big budget, so everything that you're going to see in this video is budget friendly and super easy to use. Before we start this video, I just want to make sure I let you know that I know you got this. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't let the steps intimidate you. If you need to, sleep on the video, save it for later, come back to it, rewatch it, do whatever it is that you need to do, because if you've made the investment and bought the Cricut already, you owe it to yourself to make sure you know how to get projects done successfully every time. I drop videos weekly guiding you through your Cricut and heat press journey, so make sure you hit that subscribe. And if you have any questions during this video, make sure you meet me in the comment section. I'll do my best to get to you. Everything used in this video is going to be available down below. So you're going to find the heat transfer vinyl, the Cricut, the heat press, and all the miscellaneous stuff that you're going to need to start making clothes. This video is going to be a little bit on the longer side, so I'm going to leave all of the timestamps for everything that you need down below in the description so you don't have to worry about trying to find everything. All right, let's go ahead and go to the laptop, and we're going to start in Cricut Design Space. So we have Cricut Design Space open. Now, I'm going to let you guys know now, this is super beginner user friendly. This is the safest alternative from like Photoshop and Corel and all these other programs that are a lot more difficult. I'm going to show you everything that I use as far as the design space aspect of my designing, and trust me, I've designed a lot of stuff with just Cricut Design Space alone. So this thing is very powerful. I'm going to go over maybe like, I'm thinking 80% of the stuff in here, pretty much everything that you're going to need. I'm going to go over. We're going to go over all of these buttons up here. I'm going to show you how to use them, show you what they do, so to start off, I'm going to show you guys how to download fonts. That's a question I get a lot. So let's start there first. So the website I use is defonts.com. You can use any site that you'd like. It's going to be pretty much the same steps. So let's just do a random one. Let's just do this Hulkbusters. I'm not going to really use this. I'm pretty much just, showing you guys. So once it's downloaded, I'm just going to hit download. Just go ahead and hit open file. Now we're going to want to click the one with the thumbnail that has the A in the corner. So you're just gonna click either this one or this one. So they're both gonna be different. Let's go ahead and choose this one. All we're gonna do is hit install. And honestly, that is it. So the only thing that we are gonna have to do is restart our Cricut Design Space. So let's go ahead and open it back up. Give it a second. There we go. And I believe this one was called Hulkbusters. So let's go to new project. We're going to do text. So you're going to see right here the fonts tab. When you download fonts, it's going to end up in the systems tab. So click system, and then let's look up Hulk. And there is the one that we downloaded. So let's start customizing this with all of these buttons so I can start to teach you what they all do. Like I said, we're going to go over about 80% of the stuff in here. Not every single thing is going to be discussed in this video, only because personally I don't use it. I'm just going to show you guys what I use, and if you guys have watched my videos, you guys know I go crazy with the designs that I make in Design Space. So by the end of this video, you're going to know the tools that I use to get you there. So let's start off with up here. If we hit new, it's just going to start a new project. You can either save the current one or replace it. I'm going to hit cancel because we don't need to do that. So the first thing we're going to discuss is the templates. So what's cool is these are all free for you to use. Me personally, I don't really use the templates folder, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't. This just gives you like more of a mock-up for you guys to be able to design on. So, you know, use this if you'd like. You know, all you got to do is just click it. You know, pretty cool. Then it's right there. Then you can just start to mock up. I suggest you use it. It's free, you know, go ahead and use it. And everything that we're using here, oops, okay, everything that we're using here is in the free version of Design Space. So make sure, you know, you don't have to pay for this. I personally don't. You don't have to. All right, so now let's go to the projects tab. This is where, you know, you could find the projects that Cricut offers, which I don't use any of these, honestly. I usually just go here, my stuff, my projects, and this is where all of my personal projects are at. When you save your projects, they're gonna all end up here. If you guys are subscribed to my page already, you guys have probably seen you guys have probably already seen me make most of these. So let's go back to new. All right, now the shapes, I use the free shapes a lot. So all you do is just, you know, hit the shapes, drag them in, and these are clutch. There's many ways to use these. If you guys are subscribed, you guys have seen me use the shapes plenty times, and if you aren't subscribed, go ahead and, you know, go watch the rest of my videos. There's a lot of valuable information on there. But now we're gonna go ahead and do images. Now I don't really use the images that Cricut offers, only because I'm more of like a personal branding type of designer. I like all of my stuff to be personal to my stuff, so I don't really use any of these, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't. You know, you should definitely go check it out because it's free. Well, some of them. So we're gonna go to the filters, hit free, and right here you can pretty much just go through all the free stuff that it has to offer. There's a bunch of, you know, cool stuff, and what's cool about all of these is they come with the layers already. So for example, if we were to click this one, right, it already comes with all the individual layers, so that way you can cut. So that's the images tab. Go check that out. I think there's a lot of dope things in there. I just personally don't really use it too often. You know, maybe I will in the future because I do think it's pretty clutch. But all right, now let's talk about the text. So we already know this one, so we just add the text. That's the one that we downloaded. Pretty simple. We hit it again. You know, we can change it up. It adds a second one. Simple. All right, now the phrases is very similar to the images. It's basically just, presets that Cricut offers. Just go to the free tab because, we're not really paying for this. We're using the free version. And same concept, you have all of these. And you're able to, customize them also because they come in the individual layers, all of these. So you can go in and just switch these up to, cater to you. So like I said, please go check this out. It's really dope, especially if you're just starting out. Because look at all these free templates. You guys can definitely start off with these. And now let's hit Editable Images. Same concept, go to free. All of these are free to use. The Images tab doesn't have that many options. All right, now let's go to the Uploads tab. And this is just where you're gonna be able to upload your images, your clip art, all that good stuff. You can also drag it in here. But once you've uploaded your image, it's gonna end up here on your recently added. That way you're not worried about having to upload it every single time. It saves it for you if that's something that you need. And then now let's talk about the Monogram one. This one's pretty cool. Also, it lets you design like free little templates similar to the other free templates that we saw. So go through these also. There's a bunch of little random things you can do. But yeah, let's go ahead and now talk about the buttons up here. All right, so for operation, this little box right here, basic cut is what we're gonna keep it on when we're working with heat transfer vinyl. So we have also the pen feature, which I use. This is gonna, draw the outline with the pen if you're using the pen feature, which if you need to learn how to do that, I have a couple of videos on it, but I can also make more in the future for you guys. But for this project, we're gonna keep it on basic cut because we're using heat transfer vinyl. Now you see this little box right here? This little box basically allows you to change the color. I recommend doing this, especially if you have more than one color on a project. That way you can just keep track of your layers for your own satisfaction, because if you have them all the same color, it can get confusing. So if needed, like let's say this was something, right? We could change this color as well, So this goes for any layers that you see on here. Go ahead and change the color. It's just going to help you guys out. All right. Now, this select all and deselect. This is just going to, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's going to allow you to deselect or select all the layers on here. You can either do that or click or drag. I usually just drag, but whatever you're comfortable with, Now let's hit the edit tab. I don't really use the cut or the copy because if you do any of these, it's basically because you're gonna paste it. So in that case, I just usually hit duplicate. That's the one that I use 99.9% of the time. So I pretty much suggest you use that as well. If you need to duplicate, it's over here as well. But that's the edit, right? Now, the align tab, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't really use this align tab at all. This just allows you to, keep your layers aligned in whatever direction or side you need it on. I literally have never used this. You might use it, you might need it. If you use it, great. I suggest, You stick to what works for you. Not everything in this video might pertain to you. This is definitely one of those things where just, you know, take what I do and take as much of it as you want. But if something else works for you, you do that as well, you know, because everybody's a little bit different. All right. Now, let's add these two, right? Okay, so you see how the shape is on top of it? When we hit arrange, this is going to allow us to move where the layer is. So we can send backward, we could send forward. So that's what this is. It just allows you to change the where it is layer wise. But you can do this also by right clicking and, you know, doing it that way, right clicking, you know, bring it to front, or you can also just, you know, do that as well. So that's 3 ways that this arrange button is used. All right, and then flip is pretty easy, horizontal, vertical, pretty self-explanatory. Now the offset button, this is one of my favorite buttons right here. This one right here. If you guys have watched my videos, you guys know I use this button a lot. So we're gonna go ahead and click it. This is basically gonna give us that 2 color layer that, you know, I like to do with heat transfer vinyl. I love doing this just because, you know, it's not extremely common to see people do multicolor with heat transfer vinyl, so it definitely gives us more of a color range on a t-shirt and kind of just lets us customize a bit more, you know. So pretty much I'm gonna explain how I utilize this when I'm layering heat transfer vinyl when I get to this combine section. So just hang on tight, we're gonna get there, but I just wanted to show you guys how we get that 2 color layer, and it's by using that offset. So for now, we're gonna delete that, and then I don't really use the create sticker. This is also a paid feature. Also, the warp is a paid feature as well. So I don't really use that. I end up using the curve, but we'll talk about that in a second. Now, let's talk about the size box right here. So if you see this lock right here, it says lock proportions. That basically makes it so that no matter what direction you're dragging it in, it's gonna stay proportioned. So it's not gonna let me like change it, you know, any direct. Well, it's gonna let me change it, but it's gonna keep the ratio the same size. But if we unlock it, look what happens. Now we have full free range, and this is what we want sometimes when you need to get that perfect size. So you have to keep this locked and unlocked. So make sure you guys are clicking that when it's time to use it, right? Okay. Now the rotate is pretty simple. Just do that, you know, in case you need to rotate it. And then this is also how I rotate it. I don't really ever use that. I pretty much just use this, you know. All right. Now, for the font, you already know how to do that. For the style, for the most part, we're only offered regular when we're importing fonts. Font size, this is pretty self-explanatory. The letter space, this brings them closer together or further out, so we can bring them in or we can bring them out. And then this line spacing, this is what it's for. So you see how we added some text here? This is to bring them closer this way. So I hope you can see that they're coming in closer. So that's what these are for. And then alignments, we all learned this early on in school, I'm sure, but you can just change, you know, the alignment of all your text. All right. And then the last one on this on the bar up here is advanced. This is where you can ungroup the letters, so it makes each individual letter its own layer. This happens, you know, you use this in cases where sometimes you need like one text to just be bigger, or like, you know, you kind of want to mess with them and just, but individually, you know what I mean? Like, I know this might look weird, but I'm just, you know, kind of making stuff up, whatever. And then if you need to put it back, we're going to, like I said, we're going to talk about this combine tool in a second, but you would just hit weld and then it brings it right back to, you know, what it needs to be. All right. So let's add text again. All right, so now let's talk about, right here it's the same concept. You can ungroup the letters. We're not gonna have to, you know, do that again. We already discussed duplicating up here, and then the trash can. Now let's talk about the slice and combine tool. So let's start with combine. Here, let me actually bring in some shapes. This will help us. All right, cool. So we have two shapes, two layers, right? So this is the same amount of steps, or the same steps as if there was a lot of layers or a lot of shapes or a lot of text, whatever you have in here. This is going to be the same steps. So in order to activate the slice and the combine, more than one layer has to be highlighted. So let's do combine first. So if we hit weld, it's basically gonna make this one shape, meaning it's now one thing together and it's on one layer. So the same thing would happen if they were touching. Let's do the same thing. Combine, weld, it becomes one layer, right? Now let's do the same thing again. Highlight, combine, and then unite. So the same thing happens. They become one shape on, you know, the canvas, but if you notice over here, it keeps them as two separate layers. That way you're able to undo it and then keep them as the two layers. But if we hit weld, we wouldn't be able to go backwards on the steps that we did with unite. Because with unite, look, weld, you see how it's one layer? But we hit unite, it's two layers. But on the canvas, it's still one. So that's super clutch to know the difference between those two things. So now let's do subtract. So the top layer is the purple. Let's highlight, subtract. So basically when you hit subtract, it's gonna delete whatever's on the top layer and whatever the top layer was touching with the bottom layer. So you see what happens? So the top layer is gonna get deleted. Also whatever the top layer is touching from the bottom. So we're gonna highlight, subtract, and that's the subtract button. So I'm going to show you how I use them in a second, but let's go through the rest of them. So let's go back and overlap them. Now let's do intersect. So now it's just going to keep what is touching. When we do intersect, it's gonna keep right here in the middle. That's what intersect does. It's gonna keep what's touching from the two layers. Now exclude is gonna be the complete opposite of intersect. So boom, you know, the complete opposite. It's gonna delete whatever is touching. All right. Now let's talk about slice. This one is similar to, you know, subtract, intersect, and exclude. It pretty much combines all these and lets you keep all the layers. So I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. So look what happens when you hit slice. So imagine just somebody just took a big old knife and just chopped it right there where they're overlapping, but it lets you keep all the pieces. Versus these up here deleted certain areas. So slice is pretty much just a combination of all of those. Right? So let me show you guys how I use these, especially when I'm layering heat transfer vinyl. So let's go back to offset. All right. So what I've learned over time is some vinyl you can layer. So let's say this is one layer of vinyl, this is one layer of vinyl. Some vinyl brands, you can lay it over like this and it'll stay on, but some vinyl brands you cannot. If you try to stack heat transfer vinyl on top of each other, the top layer is probably going to peel. So, but what I also notice is the brands that allow you to do it, they still work, but I feel like overall it's gonna last longer if you can get the vinyl to adhere to the t-shirt. So you see the white canvas, imagine this is the t-shirt. So what I do is, okay, so we highlight the two layers, right? The offset layer and the text layer. So we can either do intersect or subtract, but I'm gonna do subtract for this step. So watch, we're gonna duplicate this layer, so the text layer, right? We're gonna go here and then we're gonna do subtract. So pretty much it just took that top layer and knocked it off the bottom layer. So now when we lay this top layer on there, the top layer is adhering to the t-shirt, not the vinyl. So you see how that's what I use these for? So the slice and the combine between all these is a combination of each other, if that makes sense. So just do whatever combo makes sense for you, because I'll use like subtract, exclude, intersect for these steps, sometimes even slice. It just depends. And I'm not going to really talk about the attach, flatten, or contour in this video, and probably the next video I will, but you don't really need those in this moment, you know. But that's pretty much all the buttons that you're going to need to at least get started and at least be able to navigate through all of this. Alright, let's start a new project. I'm going to show you guys how to take images from Google and then import it into Cricut Design Space. This is going to be the same method if you have your own logo, whether it's JPEG or PNG or any of that good stuff. So let's head over to Google and let's go ahead and type BAPE logo. So let's say we downloaded this one. We're gonna save image. I already saved this one for the sake of this video. So what we're gonna do is go right here, hit upload. It's already here, but we're gonna do it from scratch so I can show you guys the steps. We're gonna go ahead and drag it in. We're gonna hit simple for this one, but you might have to hit one of these two. It just really depends. But for this one, we're going to do simple. Hit continue. And then you're met with this interface. All you have to do is literally click the areas that should be like PNG'd out. So we're just gonna go here, here, and here, and that's pretty much it. Then we're gonna want to do cut image, not print then cut, upload, add to canvas, and there you go. Let's zoom out here. And that's how we import logos. If it's a PNG, you won't have to do that part where, you know, we just selected the parts it needs to take out. But yeah, same steps. But now let's go ahead and make our design that we're going to be sending to the vinyl cutter and then pressing onto our t-shirt. This is going to be a simple design, but we're going to go over a few of the functions that I just recently taught you guys. All right, let's get it. All right, first thing I'm going to do is hit upload. I am going to bring in, I have two targets. I have this one, but I also have another one which I'm going to be using. Where is it at? This one. So we're going to add to canvas, hit view. Now I already know what size I want this, so let's lock this so it keeps it proportional. I'm going to do 11.5 inches. All right, let's go ahead and add some text. I'm gonna go ahead and type the recipe. All right. That looks good. Let's go ahead and add some curve. All right, let's go ahead and unlock this, and then I'm gonna drag it down a little bit. And there we go. So we're going to be doing a puff print. So I do want to make sure this vinyl is adhering to the t-shirt. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate that layer. Highlight these two. Combine. Subtract. Now we have exactly where our letters should go. Doesn't have to be perfect just because it's going to be perfect when on the mat. But there we go. Now we're ready to make it. And the first mat is going to be on a 12 by 24. It's going to be about 17, a little over 17 inches. And then the second mat, I can probably get away with a 12 by 12 mat, but to be safe, I probably will put it on the 12 by 24 just to give it that extra room right here. But every time we use heat transfer vinyl, make sure you mirror your design. So mirror your design as well. And then we're going to go ahead and hit continue. Now, if you're using Bluetooth and you need to connect, make sure you use the passcode 0000. If you're not using Bluetooth, just go ahead and plug in your USB and you're ready to go. If you have any questions so far, let me know in the comment section, but I will meet you at the vinyl cutter. All right, so I connected my laptop to the vinyl cutter via Bluetooth. Remember, you guys, if it asks you for the code when you're connecting to Bluetooth, use 0000. That should work. But this right here is a cutting mat. You're going to need this so that you can apply your vinyl into the vinyl cutter. These are not the Cricut brand ones. Well, this one is, but I have a bunch that are not Cricut brand that are a lot more affordable. And those will be in my Amazon storefront as well. I honestly have been using the same mats for like 2-3 years. As long as you just like clean every once in a while, they'll be okay. But for this project, we are using puff print heat transfer vinyl from the recipe. It is my brand of vinyl. I'm extremely proud to carry it. I worked really hard to bring you guys an amazing product. If you guys want to see more social proof on how the vinyl looks, just go check out the rest of my videos. But I always recommend to make sure you guys are using high quality heat transfer vinyl for these types of projects. But for our vinyl cutter, this puff print heat transfer vinyl is going to cut exactly how it would cut regular heat transfer vinyl. So whatever needle pressure you use for regular heat transfer vinyl, keep it the same for your puff print. So in this case, I'm going to probably keep it on Iron On Plus. Over here, there's a couple knobs for you to choose your needle pressure. You can also use the custom feature and use your laptop to get a more custom needle pressure. But for the most part, the presets that are on the Cricut Explorer Air 2, they're going to give you, most of the choices that you're going to need. Also, I have these needle replacements on my Amazon storefront as well. These are essential because your needle is going to go dull every, couple months or whatever. I have used the same box for like 2 years. So this will last you a really long time. It's only like $6-7 maybe. So I recommend you guys go get that. But we're going to go ahead and now load our vinyl in here. All right. And I'm going to cut this one. And then I'm going to load the next one. And then from there, I will see you guys when I'm ready to weed the vinyl. So the reason why I got the Cricut Explorer Air 2 was honestly, it was the most budget friendly out of all of the ones that they had to offer. When peeling vinyl, make sure you take your time. The last thing you want to do is mess up any of your vinyl. All right. So I set my heat press to 280 degrees. For the puff print that I sell, the recipe heat transfer vinyl, you want to keep your heat press between 280 and 300 degrees. So if you want to, make sure you're not burning your puff print and you're dealing with this for the first time, I recommend starting at 280 degrees and then just slowly working your way up, because you can keep pressing puff slowly while raising the temperature without, messing up the vinyl, versus if you start really high and you burn it, there's no going backwards. So for this video, since I'm doing 2 presses of puff print, I'm going to keep it at 280 degrees. And I'm going to press the first layer for about 6 seconds. And then I'm going to press the second layer for about 8 to 10 seconds. And then we'll see what it looks like from there. But that's the method that I use when I'm doing two presses of puff print, just to protect the puff on both the layers. If this was a one color puff print design, I would probably do like between 280 to 300 degrees somewhere. And I would probably do it for about 8 to 10 seconds. That would be for one color. But remember guys, make sure you're using high quality heat transfer vinyl for these types of projects. If you guys do need any of the vinyl that I have, please check the link in my bio. In the description. But let's go ahead and give this a nice lint roll. And we're going to pre-press for 10 seconds. This is going to get any moisture out of the shirt that might be in there. So we'll do this for about 10 seconds or so. And yeah, this is a Fancier Studio 16 by 24. This one is in my Amazon storefront. And I'm not using a Teflon sheet because I have this black cover on it that's in the storefront as well. All right, so we have our first layer, which is the black layer. This is the target. All right, cool. Now we're going to do this for 6 seconds, and then I'm going to check on it, and we'll go from there. right, so let's check on that. All right. Let's do it for maybe 2 more seconds. But do you see why I did it at 280 degrees? I'm trying to make sure it's right before being ready. So when I apply the second layer, it finishes this first layer. I don't want this layer to be completely done. You know what I mean? So I'm only gonna do it for another second or two. All right. Perfect. There we go. Yeah, so up here, it still needs a little bit more, which is perfect. It's not completely done. So now we can add that second layer. And take your time when applying the vinyl, because you only get one shot to press. All right, cool. Now let's do this for about 8 seconds, and then we are going to check on that. All right. Let's check on that. Perfect. Oh man, that came out so good. Wow. Yeah, I'm excited to show you guys this puff. I'm gonna grab the camera and I'm gonna give you guys some close-ups. That way you guys can check out how the puff comes out. This puff is the one that's available in my bio. I love how this one comes out. It lasts in the wash in the dryer, even though it's gonna, you know, be recommended you hang dry. I hang dry most of my stuff regardless anyway, just to help it last. But I know you guys are gonna love this, so let me know, you know, if you place an order. That way I can check on you, because I want to make sure you are getting these results, because this is the puff that we want. But yeah, I will give you guys a better angle and then we will go from there. Remember guys, I can't stress this enough, make sure you're investing in high quality puff print heat transfer vinyl. If you try to go the cheap route or try to get some vinyl off Amazon, you're not going to get these results. So please don't go off and buy it and then act surprised, and then try to DM me questions on why your puff isn't puffing. Because the first thing I'm going to ask is, did you get it from the recipe? Because if you didn't, you're asleep. Don't forget to hit subscribe and meet me in the comment section with any questions.